We are live. We are recording. What is up, and welcome to our webinar tonight with my buddy Andrew Dornish. What's up, Andrew?
Not much. How you doing, Cody?
I am good, brother. This dude knows social media. He knows marketing. He knows promotion. He read all those books behind his head in his green screen thing. And tonight is all about the beginner's guide to building your business using social. I love this topic, man, because I do believe more people should be doing this. I mean, we spend money, but it's like, why wouldn't you take some stuff that just takes time too?
Yeah, I think it's we'll obviously dive into it here in a minute, but it's a part of the marketing mix that I think everybody should be paying attention to. If you do, lead gen through mail, if you do lead gen through social, if you, whatever your method of current marketing is or lead generation is, this is just another component to kind of add into the mix of things and to hopefully help you out.
I love it, man. Well, dude, number one, I appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely.
Those that don't know you, I'd love you to share high level, because for those that aren't, like, I'm telling you, you're going to get a lot out tonight. You're going to love tonight. Andrew has worked with some massive brands from a marketing standpoint, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me share my screen here.
Let's do it.
How's that look?
It looks phenomenal.
Perfect. I will keep it up then. Yeah, so like Cody mentioned, I'm Andrew Dornish. I've been in the marketing industry now for 7 years, which seems like no time and a ton of time all at the exact same time. Time seems to fly when you're having a good time. It's something I really enjoy, something I'm passionate about. The reason why is the combination of creativity and analytics, and that is kind of like the marriage of what marketing truly is, and that's the part that I really enjoy about it. I got into Cody actually from watching his YouTube videos, so kind of coming full circle there. Started a PNC insurance agency, I think 2 years ago now at this point. So I do have some experience in the insurance industry, as well as, obviously very, like he mentioned, the marketing side of things. So here real quick, this is my website. This is kind of a landing page special just for tonight's webinar. What it is, you can go there, just scan the QR code, has all my social media accounts, and also has a place where me and you can keep in contact with each other. I'm going to be coming out hopefully early next year with some courses to help kind of the smaller, content creator, the smaller person that needs just a little bit of additional marketing, like Cody said. I've worked with some of the largest brands in the world, I guess, to be frank.
Wow.
Some of them listed here. Most of these were in both a digital capacity and an experiential marketing capacity. So both in-person marketing as well as on the digital side of things. So these are, again, this is what I've been up to this past summer, staying super busy. But, these are brands that I've worked with directly as well as through agencies. And again, it just provides such a wealth of knowledge when you work with these groups of individuals, how focused they are about their marketing, their campaigns, what they do, how they do it. And I'm going to share a little bit about that today. Going into kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Again, just really want to start with the beginning, start with the foundation. We want to try and build a solid foundation for our social media. What that looks like, I'm going to kind of go through here in a second, but oh, sweet. So just I'll kind of dive into that here. Again, build a foundation, what you need, how you do it, and how you can, make this come to life. So again, building off the foundation, game plan. We're going to talk about goals, how to create the content. We're going to talk about brand voice, the equipment you need, the process that I personally use and that I think anybody can adopt. The idea behind this was not to create something that was just super heavy and super overwhelming that it's going to be so hard for anybody to accomplish. I want everybody to be able to do this. I want this to be integrated into everybody's life. And that's kind of the process that I'll talk to you here. So make it super easy for everybody to kind of jump in head first. We're going to kind of talk about the platforms, some examples, analytical tools that I use to help create the content. And then last but not least, I'll have a list of free resources, both free and paid, what I personally use on that side of things. And then Cody, feel free to interrupt if you have any questions or want me to go into any more depth.
Boom. Appreciate you, brother.
Perfect. Awesome. So first we're going to dive into what you want to achieve. So this is obviously the foundational part of creating your content. Now you can do it, it can be pretty much anything, right? Do I want to make a ton of money off this content? Do I want to teach people about my business? Do I want to teach people about what I do, how I do it? I do have the chat pulled up. So if you guys don't mind firing off, I'm assuming that most people are going to be in the insurance space. But if you're not in the insurance space, tell me what you do. And I'll do my best to try and, intermingle some of that into the process. So first, like I said, goals. Do you want to have a following, monetize, leads? What do you want to get out of this content? And if you do have a minute, you got a pen and paper, go ahead and write that down. Again, I want to make sure that everybody leaves with something here. So once you have that written down, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what your brand voice is. Now, this is what the big brands do so well. We know exactly who we're trying to get a hold of. We know where they are, how they're doing it, where they, their age, their demographic, their city, all that information about your customers. What we try and do is create that same person for your brand. So what is your brand voice? What does that person look like? Create that person like a movie character. Who are they? What do they like to do? What are their hobbies? How do they commute to work? Create that for who you are. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these first two things, our goals and our brand voice. And if we ever decide to go to an agency, if we ever decide to come bring someone in to create content, these are two tools that we've just created that we can take to this person to make a seamless transition into content, whether you're creating it on your own or you're having someone else create it for you. So here's some examples, right? Brand visuals. What does this brand look like? What brand colors do you use? What's your logo look like? Industry, type font, symbols. And for that, what I really found useful and what I've really found beneficial is Pinterest. Pinterest is a great place to go. Just kind of look at a category of thousands of different things, logos, type fonts, color combinations. It's a great place for you to kind of start and help build what your brand's going to look like if you haven't already done so. Next, brand voice. So what does the voice of your brand sound like? I don't know if anybody follows Wendy's, the restaurant, on Twitter. It might be one of the best accounts out there. It has a huge personality, very bubbly, fun, very engaging with other brands. So take a look at that, and is that something you want to replicate? Is that something that you want to copy, or is that something you want nothing to do with? Are we very serious? And then how do we apply that to our messaging? How do we apply that to our copy? Some of the tools that I use that, if you guys haven't heard of ChatGPT, it's absolutely insane. So it's a new AI-based tool. It's going to be what I guess the best way to kind of call it is like the next version of what a Google search might be. Go ahead and plug that into Google, give it a quick search, take a look at it. There's a couple different ways to use it, one of which I'll talk about right now with brand voice. And it's just about, the content that you create. Plug in health insurance, plug in insurance, plug in golf, plug in a bunch of these different attributes or a bunch of different qualities and see what it comes up with. What it will do is it will create a list or whatever you ask it to, right? It's done songs for people. It's created copy for websites for people. It's actually even written websites in code and HTML code, please. Or code. So the website is ChatGPT. So I'll write here. So ChatGPT. It is a free tool right now, and it's probably going to go away here in the future. But while it's free, you might as well dive your hands into. One that I use is called Jasper. This is a paid tool. It's going to be very similar to ChatGPT, but provides a little bit more structure into what you're doing. So for me, it has a template called content improvement. I use it almost on everything that I do. I'll create a paragraph of something that I'm talking about, a social media post. I plug it into Jasper, and it comes up with three different versions of what this is, or three different versions of what you can say based on the content that you inputted. Now, the interesting part about this is it's not the best at the English language, so you will have to go in there and kind of correct periods and question marks, and you're going to have to change a little bit of the wording. But again, another great tool that I found out there and really enjoy. I usually use Jasper with Grammarly. So Jasper to help kind of create content, Grammarly to kind of clean it up. So those are two of the kind of main things that I use for a lot of messaging and copy. Again, and another thing to do, take a look at your favorite brands out there. Look at the people that you're following. Look at the brands that you look up to. In the insurance industry space, we obviously have Cody, who's amazing at what he does, both on the social media side, the insurance side. The team that he's put together is insane. I can say all this because he stepped out for a second. But he's definitely one to follow. So take a look at how he mentions things, how he talks about things, not just on the Cody Atkins side of things, but on his various other brands. The next thing, brand personality. Again, this kind of goes back to how do you want people to remember you? Take a look at, again, your favorite brands, how people are doing it, what they're doing. Again, Wendy's is just such a great example. Over the past 5 years, their Twitter account has been one of the most entertaining and fun things to kind of keep an eye on. So take a look at kind of a couple of those things. And again, we're building the foundation for what we want to do and how we want to post. If you're doing this by yourself, or if you're going to bring in a team, this is a great place to start so you can create some continuity between all the different platforms. All right, next. This is the fun part. This is what everybody loves. This is like the #1 most asked question, okay?
Yes.
So first, we're going to talk about what you need to create content. So you need talent, you need makeup, a camera operator, a dolly grip, a second AC, a grip. I'm just kidding. We don't need all of that. But this is sometimes what it feels like for people, right? This is like the most common question I get asked. Why? What do I need? What kind of microphone? What kind of camera? What does this do? Why does this? What do I need this for? So sometimes I really want to just send them this photo and say, hey, this is what you need to create content nowadays. In reality, the only thing you really need is this sucker right here. And there's a reason I put an iPhone, not an Android.
Boom.
So this is all you need. You just need an iPhone. You need an iPhone or an Android. I'll be nice. Yeah, and then just a camera. You just need something that will shoot content, something that's connected to the internet. And we're going to kind of talk about the process going through here up next. So for my iPhone users, this is very scary for me. I don't like showing my home screen, feels like a part of my soul's coming out, but this is iPhone, right? So these are kind of some of the settings that I advise people to use to get the best quality out of the phone. So I have the newest, I think we're on 14 at this point. But just take a look at your settings and just kind of crank them all up to whatever the max is. If you do notice that you're kind of running out of space on your phone, or if they're asking you to purchase more storage, we can crank these down a little bit, but I'll just kind of walk you through how to access this setting and what setting I use. So obviously we're going to start here with the settings tab or settings icon. Click on that. You're going to scroll down until you see camera, click on camera, and you're going to see this screen on the right. So what I do, I usually shoot my videos first thing in the morning where the light is not ideal. So I'm in my car, decent lighting, but not amazing. I turn the light on in the car as well. But for me, I found that the cinematic mode does better with lighting. So I choose to record on the cinematic phone. I use the back of the camera, back of the phone. Let me get my phone wherever it went. Here it is. I use the back of the phone. So when I record it, I actually hold it out like this. So I hold it facing myself. And I think most people know this by now. If you're an Instagram model, you definitely know this by now. Higher the hold the phone, the better it looks. The lower, we're not going to go what that does, but higher the phone, the better it looks. So when you're shooting that video, shoot it at face height and above. I use cinematic mode again because lighting issues that I have when I shoot first thing in the morning. All right, next, we're going to go into the process of creating content. So this is kind of the fun part. Again, what I mentioned earlier is I'm going to kind of focus on short content on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. The reason for this is, again, I don't want this to be a huge burden on someone. We're all busy. We all have things to do, and we want to try and get this out as most efficiently, quickly, and get as much attention as possible. So first, we got to know the internet right now has 82% of the traffic is video. So that's the whole, one of the biggest reasons we got to go into video as opposed to just photos. There is so much content out there. There's so much stuff going on that you need to try and get out, be as unique, be as yourself as possible, and just again, video over photo, photo over nothing is kind of the way that I have it stacked out. Next, we're going to kind of talk about the structure here. So this is kind of the main structure when you're kind of creating content in the shorts, reels, or just quote, TikTok fashion. It's going to be broken up into 3 parts. And we all know how sometimes we aimlessly start scrolling on all these random platforms. So we're going to mainly talk about the first part of this, the hook. What are you going to grab people's attention with? You got to stop them from scrolling. There's so much going on in the world today. People follow thousands of people. They're, jumping. It's ski season here, so skiing's on my mind. People are skiing off cliffs. There's helicopters going around. There's drones. I mean, what can you do to try and get people to stop and listen and look at your video? So we're going to focus most of our time here on the hook. Next is the story message. What is the meat? What are you going to answer in the hook? And I'll talk about that here in a second. And then last but not least, the CTA, call to action. What do you want people to do? What do you want people to engage with? How do you want people to, stay in with your video? So the hook. Here's a couple of examples for you that have worked in the past and been very successful. These are kind of like the top 10 list. I've peeled these off. So did you know that? Again, go ahead and talk about whatever topic you're going to talk about. The number one reason you're not doing something. 3 reasons why you should blank. This is a reminder to blank. And this is kind of, there's 2 ways to go about it. One, obviously be very cohesive, be very clear, be very understanding with your voice. But if I just come up to you and say, number one reason you're not blank is not very engaging. So make sure you kind of just put your best self out there. Pretend like you're talking on the phone, pretend like you're talking to a client, pretend like you're talking to a consumer, put a little bit of excitement. That's why I really enjoy doing this right after I go to the gym. I'm usually jacked up on whatever pre-workout I'm taking at the time, and I just have a ton of energy. So that's why I kind of focus my, my time after the gym, in the car, on the way home is kind of where I do this. And that kind of works best for me. Fit it into your schedule where you see fit. Next, so if you want the slides to all of this, I'll have the QR code up at the end. Just go ahead and put in your name, email address, and I can email you guys all of these slides at the end of the talk here today. Next, the call to action. So this is what you want people to do afterwards. So follow for more, share this video and follow me for blank, for more advice, for more tips on how to achieve blank. Tag someone who really needs to see this. When you put yourself out there and tell other people to tag it, that's kind of like the one way to success. The more way that people engage with your post, the more successful that you'll be. Follow and like for part 2. That's a big one now that you kind of see starting to come around a little bit, is the follow and like for part 2. The other one is called the rolling ending, which we'll talk about here in a minute, which increases view time. But the whole goal for this process, 1 is to get them to stop scrolling. 2, watch the majority of this video, because those are the 2 obviously highest points of this engagement. Obviously views. 2nd is view time, duration of view. All right, this is probably the 2nd most question I get, or most top question I get. What do I talk about? I got nothing. I'm just a guy, just drive to work, and I just do work all day, drive home. I got 2 kids. I don't have time for this, but there's tons of stuff that you can talk about. Your situation is unique. What you do and how you do it is unique. Your process is unique, and you can share that with as many people as possible. Again, going back to the beginning, what are my goals? How do I want to achieve it? That is kind of what you want to talk about here. So there's a couple things that we can kind of talk about. These are just 4 ideas to kind of get you going. Creation story, who you are, what you do, how you do it. Super easy. Everybody can talk in their phone for 15 to 30 seconds and answer that question. Another question or another talking point is most commonly asked questions that you get asked in your business. So, whatever industry you happen to be in, what is the question that you get asked the most? Talk about it, explain it, answer it. And then the other one, which we're going to kind of go into here in a second, daily routine is a very popular one. How do you go through your day and how you overcame something? So whatever it happened to be, It doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but what is one thing that you've overcome? It's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy past couple of years. What's one thing that overcame? I just thought of this. Ed Milet had a great point at 8%. You are most, oh, what's the best way to put that? I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. You are most qualified to talk about the person that you are. That's pretty close.
Yep.
So there's thousands of people that are very similar to what you believe, what you talk about, how you do it, what you do. So share your ideas, share your concepts with them, because you're definitely going to be helping someone else out there. Again, so here is the QR code. You guys can go ahead, scan that, put in your name, email addresses, and I can send your presentation or send the presentation to that. Also has all my social media channels on there as well. The most channel or the most viewed channel that I talk about a lot of this stuff are on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. So if this is content you really want to see a lot more of, those are two of the areas that I would suggest you follow. Again, what I said, or talk a little bit about my process. I enjoy going to the gym first thing in the morning. So I usually go to the gym. On my way back from the gym, I'll take the video when I park and pull over on the side of the road, because we aren't driving and texting, or we're not driving and shooting videos, everybody. So pull over on the side of the road, then I shoot a video and I edit it right there. So I do everything before I even enter my home. So for me, the reason, that's kind of like the key to get into my driveway is to do a post, get it going. I post 5 times a day, or excuse me, 5 times a week, 2 times a day on TikTok and YouTube. So what is that moment for you guys? So what part of your day could you integrate this into? It's actually kind of turned out to be semi-funny for me, is now sometimes I'll just be driving home and I'm like, I got to shoot a video before I go, like just randomly out of the blue. So I think it also creates more content for people. I think it's another way to, again, put it into your everyday life. You're bound to do it. Jumping on to a couple examples here. This guy looks pretty familiar, I think. So again, we're going to kind of talk through, right, what's the call to action, what's the message, what's the hook. And I think
I made 117.
Can you guys hear that?
20 in my first $1 million when I was 28, and now we're making over $2 million a month at 31. You first got to commit to become totally obsessed and become urgent about you making $1 million a year. Let's take it a step further though, right? Because once you figure it out and you start to commit to getting it, and you start asking for it, then what business are you going to do to get it done, right? You say, okay, dude, how would I do that? Well, $1 million is 20 grand a week. Okay. Over 5 business days, you should be working more than 5 business days if you actually want to be a millionaire though. However, we'll stick with 5. It's easy math. $4,000 a day. What business can you get in where you can consistently plug in and make $4,000 every single day? There's a ton of industries you can go make $4,000 in a day. These are things you got to implement. Like you got to start thinking about, okay, dude, how do I get serious about this thing and become a millionaire?
So some of the things that I really like about what Cody did here, one started out with a crazy hook, right? What was it, $117,000?
Yeah.
So start with something big. You almost want to start with like what the whole carrot of the whole thing is going to be. Then he explains the process of how he did it. He used very engaging words. He used I don't know the best phrase to use this, but continuing words. So then, how, to become, and those are words that kind of drag you along. I shouldn't say drag, that's inappropriate, but to kind of take you along through the journey of the whole post and what Cody's talking about. So again, this is Justin. I think most people know who this is. Some people.
Just bothering people, calling them as much as you possibly can, as many times as you can throughout the day, as long as you're following TCPA guidelines. You want to call people 3 times in a row, 3 to 4 times a day, follow up with people who are potential leads, who answered and just couldn't talk at the time. You want to call them and text them a couple times a day. You want to be really, really persistent, because what's going to happen is either they're going to get it or they're going to get frustrated at you. And then you get an excuse to call again and apologize. So be persistent. Don't be scared to call your leads a lot. And don't be scared to push and push and push until you get that deal, because you're helping them by getting them insurance.
So awesome. Again, like super energetic, very short, but to the point, talks you through a process of what he was first talking about at the very beginning.
The trick to selling insurance on the phone is
which trick to selling insurance on the phone. So again, what is the hook, the message, call to action? Got two more here for you. These are outside the industry. These are two people that I follow and I find very interesting. And I think their process is very unique. So just kind of taking a little bit different approach to so the idea behind this is first two very insurance oriented. This gentleman here is a CMO of a company in New York City. So he doesn't necessarily talk about his profession or how he does it or what he does, but he talks about his life, how he does, the life aspect of it. So when you're kind of creating content, it doesn't always have to be about, answering a question that everybody asks, but it can also be more lifestyle and still be very engaging. So here, dive into this.
45-year-old dad living in Brooklyn flying solo for the weekend. You choose tomato factory over cream of broccoli. And you did a pretty damn good job on that to-do list. It's about 10 o'clock. Let's shut it down and recap. You really wanted to do all the things today, including showing how ridiculous it looks when the time lapse is not on. First, you happily crank out the department weekly update. Then grab your favorite font. Let's make a super simple to-do list. Grab a gummy. Let's run in the cold. Your mom texts and thinks you're already on your way to see Fritz and reminds you didn't wake up to be mediocre today. From Vinegar Hill, where you yell for Caleb, Soda Waffle, New York Times, let's get some stuff done. Halfway through changing the light bulb, you're like, I gotta put a shirt on. Better yet, you trim your beard, grab some kicks, and head out the door. Just north of the bridges, let's go to Flight Club. Santa Claus is coming to town. Lucky for everyone, Rel is hooking them up. Not pictured, but shout out to Bree for saying hi. You want to pay it forward too, so you stop by New York Nico's Pop. All sales going to feeding NYC. You don't know anyone up front, and you're scared to ask, so luckily Jordan happens to be there. Into the magical workshop where scuba gear is discussed. Right before meeting Nico, the man himself. The kicks are dropped off back to Brooklyn on the bike. Let's go get a haircut. Meanwhile, in Oregon, your wife says the muffins are delicious and Department 56 is looking good. In Brooklyn, the pharmacy is closed, but Victor is open. And he tells you why some pants give you wedgies. And at the same time, your mom texts you again about there being wisdom in the mundane. That beer run back under the subway. Let's feed Puffy. It's getting late. Bring the shoes you waterproofed earlier and grab dinner. A quick pit stop for holiday cards, which brings us back to where it looked like you were the one eating cat food right before you recorded one of your first podcasts, where you tell the story about the job you wanted the most but didn't get, which was kind of.
So again, the end of this one actually will loop back to the beginning. So this is called a loop. I guess I just call it a looped ending because that's what it is. The whole idea is that as soon as someone's completed it, it's just going to go into the story again. And it's going to it's going to repeat the view. So you're getting double views for one video. And then what it does is it kind of, it's an interesting story, right? So it's something that you get captivated by, something draws you in. This one is super fast paced. The next one is even more fast paced and just another take at a similar concept. But this is just to show you that there's many different avenues to go down when you're creating content. So here's another one again. This guy was based in New York. This guy's based in LA. Again, very interesting concept.
This will surprise you about me. Good morning. Very cold out. Feels like 45. Down to Sunset for a run. I think I'm going to take it about 3 miles, but I need to start going for more. I want to hit 5 or 6. Quick turnaround at the house, shower change, and right back out the door. Solid 45-minute drive over to the west side. Made it to Irwan to grab lunch, the Bev, and see some very important people, Costas and Braden. It's been a while, so we caught up on all the things and decided we need to play golf soon. Another hour to get back home. The traffic will sneak up on you if you're not careful. 2 major things on the agenda. First up, finishing a video script. Although I've never considered myself a great writer. A pretty fun package has arrived. It's from our good friend Sam. I've actually been wearing the green version of this shirt all day. Thank you, Sam. I will create more. Final task is documentary editing. Getting to look at the interview we shot on Sunday. The California burrito from Lowboy is still one of the best I've ever had. Chef's kiss. A couple episodes of The Office. And a fun fact, I've never seen this show until like a month ago. It's pretty funny. You probably knew that. And just like that, it's time for bed.
Wow.
Cool. So just another example. All right. So jumping in. So this is kind of the second aspect of the content creation process of the social media landscape. So going into the analytics, I'm going to kind of talk about a couple things. What matters, analytics you want to look at, a couple tools, free tools that you guys can use to kind of test out different things. And then I'll kind of share some of our resources, what I use kind of on the backside. So for me, what matters most? So a couple different things. So this is from my YouTube channel. Again, I focus on shorts. If you post 4,520 videos with 1 view per each, you get 4,520 views. So the idea behind that is I try and create as much as possible. The more you create, the more chances that you have at kind of hitting this virality or hitting your target. So I've kind of taken that approach. I think a lot of people get discouraged from the very beginning. They do this for a week and they're like, yo, I'm not getting anything at all. My numbers are trash. I can't figure it out. I mean, take a look at this chart here, right? I did okay. I was doing bad. I got a couple pops, And I think it's something that you just need to stick with. Learn from what you're doing. Look at the analytics, who you're attracting, how you're attracting them, their longevity, and what kind of, and then you kind of tweak it from there, right? So starting from the beginning, views. I consider views to be one of the most important things. This comes down to what you're talking about, how you're talking about it, the message that you have, the caption, or the hashtags, audio. So take a look at the views for each of your videos individually. What works, repeat it. Next, age, gender. This is important for some people, especially when you're looking at, certain products, right? Insurance industry, we're not really going to be selling to 13, 17, we're probably going to be in this realm of things. So when you start producing content, look at this number and figure out, am I hitting the right demographic? Do I need to be talking about different things? Excuse me. How do I tweak my content to adjust these numbers just a little bit? The other thing that I really enjoy looking at, and I think is important, is this one right here. So this is audience retention. So this is the amount of time that someone watches a piece of content for. The higher the score, the more times that this video is going to get posted. The goal of every social media platform, business, and website out there is to keep you on the website. So the higher this retention rate, the longer you're going to stay on the website, the longer you're going to stay on the social media platform, the more willing they're going to be to boost your content. So this is one that I really look at quite often. This was on a 15-second video. So that brings up the question, what's the perfect amount of time? I think 15 to 30 is like my preference. One, it takes you 15 to 30 seconds to record. Two, you usually keep this retention fairly high because of the longevity of the video. You don't have to, the whole thing is just so short that you usually end up with these high scores, which help boost. I wouldn't say do that every single time, but I do think that this can be like a once a week thing where you just focus on creating something that's 15 seconds long, again, to help boost your retention score.
Yeah, I know on longer form content, we try to hit a 70% audience retention at 60 seconds. So at a minute, 70% are still watching. That's hard to hit on longer videos, but it's something we look at. So
yeah, no, it's huge. And I know even if you were to create a YouTube full-length YouTube video, there's different things you can say, right? I think it's 8 minutes is when you can get 3 time slots for commercials. Yeah. Or I forget, I think it's changed since, but there's take a look at when you got to get into the longer form things, it's crazy, right? You do have to account for the amount of times that the ad platform is going to be able to provide an ad within the content. So I'll kind of talk about this now. TikTok, right? So we're going through kind of a revolution of social media right now. Everybody, or maybe you don't know, TikTok I think it just went to Congress to be banned in the United States. I think one question or one thing that really brings up most importantly is that you don't own your audience on these platforms. I think that's something time and time again that people get lost in. Is the most important thing is to try and get these people off this platform as quickly as possible. Again, I wouldn't use every single call to action. I wouldn't say, hey, come visit our website, but I would definitely start leaking it in there. Because again, you don't own this data. You don't own this audience. This is just on borrowed time. So the more that you can peel off, the more that you can take from this platform onto your website is going to only benefit you in the future. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about different ways to track that and to figure out what works and doesn't work. So the tool that I use for a lot of my analytics is Google Analytics. What it is a free platform. If you just search it on Google, just give it a quick search and it will, it's a free account. You just have to have a Gmail account. Easy to set up, fairly easy to set up. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there to help you get started. This is a screenshot from one of my clients. I covered up the majority of this stuff, I think, that I'm not allowed to show. This was a 2-week-long promotion that we ran for a contest in California, Arizona, Vegas, kind of on the West Coast of the United States. So one thing that I really want to show you guys, obviously all this data is super important, but what I want to look at here is this session data on the side here. So there's a way to split your URL so that it shows, and I'm going to go into that next. I just want to show you what it looks like first. It's going to show where traffic comes from. Why is this important? It's going to show you, hey, are these Instagram posts working? Are these TikToks working? Is my website working? Is Facebook working? Like it's going to show you where these ads come or where the traffic comes from into your website. So again, SendGrid is an email company. So this is email marketing. We ran Facebook ads. We also had a QR code. So we were looking to see what was the most, where the traffic came in from and what was the most successful part of the traffic. This, again, we can kind of take this data, match it back to our spend, and figure out what our cost per user is. Just real quick, just to provide a little context here. So this direct none, this is just like a perfect. I'll answer the question here in a second. This direct none is kind of geared towards what Google doesn't have or doesn't know. So that's why I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about what URLs we create and how we track all this data coming in. So there's a tool out there. Again, take a look at, go to Google, search URL builder, because the actual URL to build a URL is obnoxious. This is what it is right here. And what this is this is kind of the tool that most marketers, creators use to help kind of track where this data comes from. Google will take a lot of the data and auto organize it, but it's not the most clean thing. As you saw, there's a lot of traffic that dropped and we didn't have a place for it and didn't know where it came from. So I'll kind of talk about a couple of the main key points here. As you can see, there's great examples underneath to kind of talk you through what should and what's supposed to kind of go in each of these sections. Obviously, your URL will go at the top. The campaign source, where's it coming from? So for this, if we're doing obviously content, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we would put that there. Medium, you can put something here. What I would suggest doing is maybe even do like, depends on what test you're running, right? If you're running like a video versus photo test, like I would put what that is here. If not, you could just put social media post or post, email, like you saw in the email campaign that I just showed. Campaign name, if you're running something that's going to be like a series of videos, maybe you put the title of the series of the video here. Again, that will just provide another piece of data for where the traffic is coming in from. Again, so super helpful resource. Again, a free resource that people can use. People can use to help track data, inbound data onto their website. All right. Okay. So I'll get into this question in the chat. Feel free to drop any questions. I'm sure I'm ripping through this, so I apologize. But if anybody has any questions or whatever, feel free to reach out. I'll put the QR code up again here in a second so you guys can scan that. What is your response to someone who might think you are contributing to a total waste of someone's time watching these? Not trying to be rude and stating somewhat general in the general sense, but in talking to my age group, this seems to be a popular statement, especially for industry insurance. Okay, so a couple things. One, the algorithm of these platforms is getting very good. If you watch something, it's bound to repeat it in a different form or fashion. We're going back. This is kind of what's turning into the commercials of the 90s and early 2000s, when this was kind of like the only source of entertainment and media. So it's getting very convoluted, it's getting very complicated, it's getting very compact with just how much data is out there, how much content is out there. So waste of time, my suggestion would be to create stuff that you find empowering, or create stuff that you find to, lead people to, solutions, lead people to, problem solving. We're only going to be as good as the content you create. Someone brought it up the other day to this kind of similar point, find it rude and doesn't make sense. There's a famous YouTuber was going around and filming people to, giving out money to people and filming people. He said, hey, if you have to film people to give out money, someone receiving money and, helping them during this holiday season is way better than not giving out money and not helping any people at all. So I think there's a little bit of misconstrued energy towards the platforms or towards this means of engagement. Again, this is not the only thing that you should be doing. This should be part of a whole larger marketing mix through email, through mail, the whole things, right? So this is just one component of what you should be doing. I hope that kind of answered it. Should you worry about Facebook and LinkedIn anymore? Yes. So LinkedIn is definitely one of the most underpriced attention getter or attention platforms out there. I truly believe that. It is looking for content. It is looking for visual appealing. It is looking, it's starting to look like a resume, and it's terrible to say right now because there are so many people going through a hard time and losing jobs, and unemployment is, you know, we all know what's going on. I don't have to go into that. But people are looking for engagement, motivational, inspiring content all across the platform, or all across the internet. Doesn't matter what platform it is. So I think LinkedIn is still very good. I think Facebook is still very good, especially for a certain demographic. You know, what I just talked everybody through the content creation, you can create one video, you can create one piece of content and share it across everything. Use these tools like the URL builder, figure out where that traffic is coming in from that you're converting on, and then double down on that platform. So this is providing a huge test site for you to figure out, you know, what works, what doesn't work, what platforms are best, what is engaging for my audience. And it's just it's just trial phase, right? You got to take a holistic, a huge approach to everything. Okay, did you say to decrease using TikTok? No, so I think you should like totally take advantage of this sucker until it hits the ground. So if you're not posting on TikTok now, I would suggest to do so. I wouldn't make it your main priority. There's YouTube in 23 coming up is going to be going through a revolution of YouTube Shorts, where they're going to be turning on monetization. So that's going to be an emphasis for them in the future. So my thought would be is TikTok is going to, a little bit of traffic is going to move to YouTube Shorts. So if you're looking to split attention, if you truly, I don't really know, or I don't think TikTok is actually going to go away completely. I think it might change a little bit. That would be a place that I would go, right? I would go to YouTube Shorts. I still think that's another spot of total, has a lot of space to be used. Like, I think there's a ton of value there still. So yeah, I don't think TikTok's going anywhere at the end of the day for the near future. I would totally use it until it hits the ground. Okay. Any other questions? Just feel free to drop them in. So these are the people that I follow and I kind of take inspiration from. Think Media Podcast is a great kind of, what they do is they aggregate a lot of people's information, a lot of people's concepts, and kind of come up with a cohesive way to tell you all how it is, what to do, how to do it. Alex Hormozi is kind of the new kid on the block. The kid's actually absolutely killing it. Runs a company called acquisition.com, was a gym owner, and a very smart, very, what's the best way to put it? Like loud personality. Someone I truly enjoy following, and I think he has a bunch of great content. And then of course me, because, I get to say that. Instagram, the two obvious ones are Grant Cardone, Gary Vee. Again, both put out great content. Grant Cardone stuff is awesome. If you haven't had a chance, it is very loud. It is very in your face. If you don't like it, it's just not for everybody, and it's not going to be for everybody. So he's very good at his voice. He's very good at, being who he is and doubling down on that. On the TikTok side, Modern Marketing does a very good job at being very quick, very short, very actionable pieces. So again, another great resource or another great person to kind of follow. Okay, resources. So these are some of the different things that I use. Sendable is my scheduling app. What I do is I schedule the majority of our clients' posts on there. Provides a calendar view. That is a paid. If you're looking for a free version, the Meta Business Suite, you can schedule posts on there on Facebook and TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. So again, another very good resource there, free resource if you sign up for a business account, which is free. Jasper talked about that a little bit at the beginning. Great for creating content, great for copywriting. TikTok for Business, again, another free resource. I would suggest everybody sign up for this. It goes through trends. It goes through, trending hashtags. It shows the virality of different topics. So again, super important what we're kind of talking about. And go check that out. Another free resource. Last but not least, overnight success takes years and years of hard work. Don't stop on the first day. Don't stop on the second day. I try and run this for at least 90 days before I change anything. You're going to learn a ton of stuff nonetheless, and you're going to figure out what works for your lane, what works for, what you post and how you do it. Again, here's the QR code. Make sure you guys scan that. Give that a scan. There's a quick little form, name, email address. If you enter all that, I can send you this deck. And I can also, my email's in there. So if you have any questions, you can follow up there as well.
Boom.
Thank you.
Dude, phenomenal content, brother. So good.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Seriously. So good. Yeah, leave that up. Make sure you guys scan that. Andrew, I appreciate you sharing tonight. Phenomenal stuff. We got some really good content. I'll read a couple of them real quick. Mark said, as always, thanks for delivering. Terrific info from Mark. Jennifer, great points. Dude, very well planned, very incredible. I mean, just solid strategy. And thank you for being on and sharing your wisdom.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it. Again, yeah, scan the QR code, has my email, on my social media in there. So jump on in and say hi.
Let's go. AndrewDornish.com. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being
Awesome.
on
Thank you very
tonight.
much,
Have a
everybody.
phenomenal week and a great Christmas. And
Yeah, thank you.
we can't see you guys, but virtual round of applause for Andrew Dornish. You can't see them, but they're clapping. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
AD, you're the man. Thank you for being
Awesome.
on tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Cody. Everybody have a great night.
Boom. Adios.